Hi everyone, welcome back. Last class we talked about the violin, which is the highest of the orchestral string instruments. Today we're talking about the viola, which you can see looks a lot like the violin. So much so that a lot of people who play one also play the other because the technique's very similar. The viola is slightly bigger than the violin, which you won't see in this because I'll be honest with you, this is actually a violin that I have strung like a viola. You see they're the same size. When you look at the videos of the violas that I'm going to show you shortly, you'll notice that they seem a little bit larger, even though they're played the same way up on the shoulder. Compare it to the size of the head. The viola is a little bit further out than the violin. Now, the reason I have this one strung like a viola, so that you can hear the difference. The violin has a high E string, that is the top space of the treble clef system. And the note underneath that is the A. That's the highest string on the viola. So violin and viola both have A strings, they both have D strings, they both have G strings, and the viola goes one lower to a C string. So it goes a fifth below the violin. The highest note, the violin can go all the way up. The viola, so still pretty high, but the violin doesn't get down to that low open C range. But the difference between the two isn't just that extra string on the bottom. With its slightly bigger size, the viola has a larger, mellower sound than the violin. But you'll hear from these videos that it is a beautiful solo instrument in its own right. Bartolomeo Campagnoli was a violinist who lived around the same time as Beethoven. He's an example of a well-known violinist of his time who also played viola. This Caprice for Viola by Campagnoli is a great example of the sound of the solo viola. You can really hear those low ends and the rich, deep sound that the viola offers. During the classical period, the violin was really the prominent instrument. Most string orchestra music featured the melody up top, so the violin naturally played that. As music changed, other instruments began to be used more for their different sounds. Even though there's a limited amount of repertoire from, say, Mozart's time for a great solo violist, composers later on took advantage of the violist's unique sound over the violin. This much more modern sounding piece was written by the 20th century composer Paul Hindemith. Wow. Crossing over instruments between violin and viola wasn't limited to the classical genre. Here is a video of the famous jazz violinist Stefan Grappelli playing viola. While the word fiddle is synonymous with violin, it doesn't mean that you have to play a violin to be a fiddler. The fiddle repertoire from Irish music and other styles really takes on a mellow tone on the viola. I love this recording. Here's a video of a great young violist playing Farrell's Happy on viola. I love the range and the depth that this instrument brings to this song. So, the viola, a beautiful instrument in its own right, it should always be treated with respect and admiration and never used to play tennis.